What's up, guys? Jason Julius here, and you want to make your woman squirt. And let's be honest, it can seem like the holy grail of female pleasure. And there's nothing that feels better as a man than watching your woman completely let go and release in a way that she never has before. And because you want that result, you've probably been told that the secret is just finding the right button. That if you just find that G spot or that A spot and push it hard enough and fast enough, the floodgates will open. But in this video, I'm going to show you exactly where that button is. In fact, there's two buttons and one might work better than the other. And we'll talk about making her urethral sponge swell until she's ready to explode into full body bliss. But I'm also going to tell you the hard truth that most channels would skip. Even if you find the perfect spot and even if you use the perfect technique, 90% of men will still fail to make her release. Why is that? Because squirting isn't just a physical act. It is a nervous system event. It is an act of total surrender, not to you, but to herself. And if you don't understand the energetic side of this, if you don't know how to create the permission for her to let go, the technique I'm about to teach you will just make her feel like she needs to pee. So stick with me. We're going to cover the mechanics first, but do not skip the end of this video because that is where the real magic happens. So let's dive in. Now, women typically have a squirting release from either G-spot stimulation or A-spot stimulation. For this video, we'll focus mainly on the G-spot, but if she doesn't respond to G-spot stimulation, check out my videos on this channel about the A-spot because women typically respond better to one or the other. But when it comes to the G-spot, we need to clear up a massive misconception. Most guys are looking for the G-spot like it's a little magic button or a switch on the wall. It's not a button. It is a specific type of tissue. We are looking for the urethral sponge. So here's how you find it. It is located on the upper wall of the vagina. So if you imagine your woman laying on her back and you enter her with your finger and you go up about 1 to 2 inches, which is about 2 knuckles in, and press up on the front wall, that's where you'll find it. And you don't need to go very deep. In fact, going too deep, you might actually miss it entirely. When you put your finger inside, most of the vaginal wall feels smooth, but this spot feels different. It feels textured. Some people describe it as feeling like the skin of a walnut or a rough sponge. Now, as far as technique, you aren't poking at it and you aren't rubbing it like you're trying to erase something on a piece of paper. You're using a come here type of motion. Imagine you're curling your fingers back towards you, hooking that textured tissue and pulling it forward rhythmically. It requires firm, consistent pressure, not painful pressure, but enough that you're engaging the tissue underneath the surface. When you stimulate this spot correctly, the Skene's glands and the urethral sponge, they begin to engorge and they fill with liquid, similar to you getting in an erection. And this swelling is what eventually leads to the release or the squirting release. So you've found the sponge and you're using the come here motion, you're applying the pressure. But this is the exact moment where things often go wrong because right as you start doing this perfectly, she stops you. Let's talk about why. Now, here is the exact moment where most men get stuck. You find the sponge, you use the come here motion, you're doing everything technically right, but instead of melting, she pushes your hand away. She tenses up and she says, "Stop, that hurts." Or she says the most common thing, "I feel like I need to pee." And because you're a good guy, you stop, you think you messed up the technique, or you think maybe she just can't do it. But here's what's really going on. You didn't do the technique wrong, you got the energy wrong. You see, the pelvic floor is often the first place a woman holds stress. We call this armoring. If she is stressed, anxious, or if she doesn't feel completely safe in the moment, her nervous system is in fight or flight. When that happens, her pelvic floor tightens up like a fist. When that tissue is tight and armored, touching the urethral sponge feels invasive. It puts pressure on the bladder and it translates to pain or the urgent need to use the restroom. But if you can help her shift into rest and digest state, that same tissue softens, it engorges, and that sensation flips from "I need to pee" to an intense wave of pleasure. In fact, in our orgasm trainings, we teach the importance of strengthening the pelvic floor muscles so that she can more easily relax it. But now that you understand this, you can see that you can't just use mechanics and finger techniques to force a squirting orgasm. Female ejaculation is not about extracting an orgasm from her. It is an act of total surrender. total release. It is her surrendering to herself, letting go of the control over her own body and fluids. And she physically cannot do that if her nervous system is bracing for impact. And in a world full of constant stress, most women have a hard time getting to the mental and physical level of surrender that is required to achieve a squirting orgasm. So they create a false belief that squirting orgasms are just not possible for them. Then suddenly she meets a guy who understands how to be the energetic permission for her to surrender, and she thinks that he's magical. But it's not about the physical technique that he's using. So how do you become that guy? How do you turn that pain or hesitance into pleasure? You have to stop acting like a technician and start acting like an elevated lover, which is the man who sees the higher perspective and orchestrates orgasmic experiences she didn't even know that she could have. Here's how you do it. The secret ingredient to making this work isn't a finger motion. It is safety. Squirting is not something that you do to her. It is an act of total surrender that she allows to happen. And a woman physically cannot surrender control of her body if she does not feel the masculine energies from you that evoke safety. In our framework, we teach that a woman needs to feel 3 things to fully open up. She needs to feel safe, seen, and stirred. She feels those energies when you master the 7 energies of masculinity that evoke them. For this specific act, achieving a squirting orgasm, safe is the gatekeeper. Now, most guys think safety means being nice, asking for permission every 5 seconds, or being soft. That is the nice guy trap. When you are anxious, rushing, or constantly checking in like, is it working? Are you close? You're broadcasting insecurity. You're broadcasting that you need her to orgasm to validate you. And that creates pressure. And pressure clamps that pelvic floor shut. To unlock this, you need to bring a different energy. You need to bring the energies of discipline and stillness. This means you are the one who is regulating the nervous system in the room. Before you even reach for that spot, you need to slow your own breath down. You need to drop your energy out of your head and into your body. You need to become the unshakable rock in the room. When I first started teaching this, like almost 2 decades ago now, I would tell guys that a woman needs to trust and respect you on a deep level in order to give herself to you. Now we have a framework, and we can understand because a woman responds to and is turned on by your energy and how you make her feel, we can understand which of these energies we need to embody to get her there. Now we have a map. When you are grounded, calm, and completely unattached to the outcome, her nervous system feels that stability. She realizes she doesn't have to hold on because you are holding the space. That is when the armoring drops. That is when the tissue softens. So the next time you try this, do not start with your fingers, start with your breath. Anchor yourself. The feminine is like a river, and the masculine is like the steady mountain. And she can't be the river unless you are the riverbank. So how do we put this together in the moment? We use a method that I call stacking. You're going to stack the energy before you stack the technique. Step 1 is establish the container. Before you even touch her, slow your breath down. Deep belly breaths. Get your energy completely still. You are signaling to her nervous system that there is no rush and no pressure. Step 2, guide her physically. Massage goes a long way in getting her mentally and physically relaxed. It also gives you time to deeply calm your nervous system while you do it. Once you feel her relax, enter her with one finger and locate the urethral sponge that we talked about earlier. Apply that firm pressure and start the come here motion. Keep your rhythm very steady and do not vary up the rhythm. She needs steady, consistent rhythm to get there. Step 3 is the threshold. This is the most critical moment. As the sensation builds, she might tense up. She might grab your arm. If it gets too intense and she's, asks you to stop, pause for a moment, look her in the eyes and say, babe, I want you to trust me and I want you to give yourself to me unlike any other time before. And if your energy is still and direct as you say it, not hesitant or seeking validation, she will feel the confirmation in you that it's okay to go past that scary point of no return. At this point, resume where you left off, give her a little bit more time to get back into the sensation, and guide her there. Keep the pressure firm. Look her in the eyes and verbally give her permission to let go when she gets close. You could say something simple like, "You're safe, let it go." When she feels your stillness combined with that unwavering physical pleasure, her brain switches off the alarm bells and she realizes she doesn't need to hold back. And that is when she crosses the threshold and surrenders to the release. Okay, we just covered a lot. You now have the energetic key, safety and stillness, which is the part that most men miss. But I know that getting the mechanics right, like finding the exact spot, using the right pressure, and understanding the anatomy can be a bit tricky to grasp just from me talking to a camera. So I have an educational training over on my blog that shows you more than what I can show you on this site. It's purely educational, done tastefully, but it gives you a clearer understanding of the physical side of this. And you can watch it free on my blog at jasonjulius.com. I'll put a link in the description as well. I also go further into how to make her squirt, so make sure that you go check that out. And make sure that you hit the thumbs up button as it really helps out the channel. And be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Try out what we just talked about and let me know how it goes in the comments, and let me know any questions that you have as well. And I'll see you next time.